or whatever it is, wherever you are. So, we've been using the unofficial hosting API under the TMI service, which apparently Twitch shut down, and since it's unofficial, they didn't bother telling anybody. So I know I did stuff to this, and there's at least two things that are affected by this. Two of my stream layers. This one seems to be getting a very, very long delay before it starts doing stuff, which I didn't see here, which is weird. Maybe it's just a slightly different behavior of the browser. Actually, I might have had a URL agreement to not show the videos. Show clip, among other things. Do we have to reload for that to take effect? "404 not found." So that's the response, but mine is 200. Okay, so I mean, maybe I actually want to go hit my redirector and make that do something. So it's got, yeah, so actually this time it did just kind of hang. Bad body, yep. And there was, well, I guess host limit won't matter because we're not getting actual hosts. Ammonia. Oh, and then this did not respect show clip. When it errored out here. Now, are you like a hash? No, you're a question, so that should be in the same series. So we've got a couple of bugs to work out here, actually. Gear storage on URL. Ah. Doesn't like being on localhost. I wonder if this is actually an issue in the embed. All right, so whatever show clip does, we just need to enforce. That's M show clip. Okay, we'll shut off that stuff for a little bit. Then we need to figure out why is it doing that. Also, why is it not doing that? This is the Hosting Clips app. So we have a fetch error getting hosts. But it should still do my clips. And maybe it's this. Oh, I wonder if it's timing out some arbitrary thing. Where's our startup sequence? So that starts out as true, but it should go through the URL. Wait, what? It must have had a compile fail. What? There's a secondary path for this. Oh, because it's a self clip. Still. Something I miss. Oh. It shouldn't be happening. Struck argument. So what are we getting at the end of this? This could be a good time for the debugger, actually. Okay, so we get HTTP error. So we have we do have all of my clips. Show clip is true. True. So we've never actually parsed our URL. Where does that happen? Current URL. Yeah. Isn't browser application supposed to just do that? Browser.application navigation.key. Oh, okay. That's if we change URL. I didn't change it during the run of this. So whatever we're doing there, and this might have been in part a change with the authentication loop stuff. This session needs to be extracted to a function that we, to some extent, run on the starting URL. So a bunch of this stuff is starting URL things. Pending requests are pure data, so that's not really going to affect anything. This is a request of auth, and then update. Well, something's clearly updating here. So I don't think we need to do anything more with that. And model.time is a field of model, so this doesn't depend. This doesn't depend on anything in here that we are doing with this. So what are you? I know I have changed, or I know I have done this in other applications. I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be a convention. We've also got navigate. That's just location. What are you going to be? It's primarily from a current URL request. This is kind of a routing thing. Do I have any other? I know, yeah, I've got like create path, create query string, create hash argument, extract search argument. Oh, and hey, look. Oh, wait. Our initial model is current URL. That's why it doesn't show up in the debugger, though. So if we want to see that, well, we do this. And what we get out of it. Okay, we hadn't compiled yet. Update current URL. Show clip. Maybe it's show clips. No. What the hell? Yep, hadn't compiled yet. Nothing. Oh, I'm saying with... Wait. What? Oh, we're down in fancy pants parser stuff. That means I might have a hard time debugging it. Bug.log. Okay, so first of all, what are we actually feeding to that? Fragment. Wait, that's fragment. not query. Oh, so because I put it in the wrong spot. Okay. Because we can't have both. And in fact, there is, and I saw that this was up here. So I guess, oh yeah, that's what it is. All right. So update. Should not need that. And bug.log. Maybe another thing we need to work out here. Show clip. And we have another one at the bottom of this. Yes. All right. So that should take care of our view hacks here. Now, why is it taking so long to go to the first self clip? I know we've got those. Yeah, now we're in the view. Fetch hosts. Okay, ID and login, we fetch hosts. But that should come back on an error. Oh, do I have common error handling here? HTTP response. Yeah, I did. Okay, that's that specific one. And this is just a fetch error and does nothing. So we need to make sure that the rest and then all of our API requests went into a queue, which we're not progressing our queue. What are we waiting on here? Okay, and we're attempting to do a host update. There's the clip, there's the durations. We did not even schedule a pending request. So that might be an issue at the start here. No, there's no pending requests. Okay, so it's not just running the queue. So if we did get hosts back, what would we do? Host clips, pending requests, append requests. Maybe pick command. And you see, if we just get like some kind of error, where's model.clips, else none. So getting back the hosts is what was, and do I have any information about, okay, there is a source. So I can do specific stuff if necessary. Okay, and that goes to HTTP response, fetch user by name, fetch self, fetch clips, fetch hosts. And what does maybe pick command is just the command. Oh, we have to... Well, that's blocking all user input. Okay, that's fetch error hosts. Maybe at the time this comes in. Response HTTP. No, that was the most recent event. Oh, is that no hosts? Is it opening a sub window? No, it's just broken. Yeah, you're a no host, which is like, oh, there's nobody hosting us. Well, oh no. Wait. Is that backwards? Is this supposed to be a not? Still, we're on no hosts, so it should perform the pick. Okay, there's one, but that's going to be on our timer. If list.empty, next request, array.isEmpty, okay, it's not empty. If clip cycle time, this is probably supposed to be, hey, there were no hosts, so we're not going to bang on it too hard. Is that what subscriptions does? Next choice. Then that does a definite pick command. All right, so just for kicks. Oh, no, we have an error. Oh, you're a model. Oh, you know what? You probably did a model too. Oh, okay, so yes. That is sufficient to get it kickstarted. All right, I have a source control window here. No, I didn't need you. Oh, that's just debug mode, which hopefully we're done with here. Okay, and that was that. Hmm. All right, I'm probably going to need a local Twitch library for a while. So we don't have a dependence on this. That will make Elm unhappy because it changes our dependency, our explicit dependencies. Okay. Oh, I didn't put source here. Now you see. Oh no, it adds explicit dependencies is the issue. Parser.advanced. Okay. All right, we're also going to have to be looking at this stuff. Nope. Do you have a notes? You don't have a notes. Do you have... Yes, you do have a TMI. So this is going to basically go away, because I think this is... Yeah, hosting. Oh, you're the test. And I don't know what our other endpoint's going to look like yet. This is the only thing we've got for TMI, though. And the point we're going to is also undocumented, so I think I'm going to have to, like, revert removing some Kraken stuff. And then put that back. I guess we're going to need this one for a little bit, too. Actually, the changelog... Okay, so 5.0... Well, this is just a typo. At the time, yes. Okay, so that was just update package version. Streams, Helix, Twitch, and that's a test. That did have a test file. Now, what it was testing was Kraken decode, which was a bunch of stuff that I'm not using anymore. I think Kraken is the bit that I might want. No, that's Elm. Send. Okay, so the example here was for a thing we don't have. So maybe we don't want to revert this precisely. And then Kraken is probably really only testing the decode for stuff we don't have anymore. So I could almost just as easily reproduce this from our other existing tests. Can I get this not as a tree? Oh, this must be after that version. Okay, so this is a bad interface for this. Surely there's a better way to do this. File to a specific version. That's kind of it. Now, I also want to say, I mean, I guess reset would do it. So effectively, yeah, or yeah, git checkout and it's dash dash file path. And I have not opened up a console here yet. Git checkout source Twitch Kraken.elm as of 4.3.0. Was it not? Source Twitch Kraken. So checkout only works on files that exist in the current directory? Well, I mean, that's easy to fix. Invalid reference. Is it not clear that that's a tag? Oh no, I got this backwards. It's path. Because then you could list multiple paths. Okay, so once we're done here, the example will have to change. I think the header stuff it's all the same client ID, you just have to supply it differently. And of course I have to remember how to make these calls. So we have to set up to make this call and then see what we get. Now is that channel... Well, the other docs in V5 Twitch should tell me if that's a name or an ID. That's only the current one. Getting a client ID. I need the reference. This would appears to have been under channels. So like get channel. And the example is... Okay, associated with the OAuth token, no. Get channel by ID. The example is, okay, no, this is numeric ID. So that had already been implemented. So maybe it was v3 that used names. Yep, undocumented. Okay, hosting clips. We do a thing that does, we have to import Helix decode. Well, right now all we have is this. We don't have a decoder for it, actually. And actually, I guess it's going to replace TMI. Yeah, so that's, we don't have a type for that yet. So I guess we run that parser on it and see what happens. And then I actually want to revisit some stuff in the Twitch library itself, but... Okay, so this in fact will hit some of the spots where we're doing that. So fetch hosts. Oh, this is an HTTP request. Because it was TMI, which we didn't have an explicit thing for. So it's going to maybe look more like this. And our URL is going to change. Just bring you down. Channel ID. And we need our quote. All right, and we've got, this is an example. And actually, this is over here. Okay, and you yourself have a kind of example. So, client ID, auth, decoder, tagger, URL. So these had the same interface. Now, this was Eclipse. You weren't expect JSON, that's the decoder, so that's already that. That's that decoder, which is, it is what it is. Oh, this has a separate decoder and tagger. Expect did not. So the decoder is that. The tagger is, what was that, hosts? And this is fetch hosts URL. Where'd our compiler go? Oh, you didn't used to be an authenticated call. Now, this might not need to be an authenticated call. Although I've got it, so it's probably good for request limit. Now, am I using it in a way that maybe makes that a little less convenient? So we do fetch hosts there. We checked for auth. Well, that is a maybe, so if it was a maybe, that'd be fine. Next choice should probably have it. That has an auth. This has an auth. But it's either model.auth or just auth, so... Oh no, these have been getting definite auths. Okay, so that one becomes inconvenient. I'll come back to you. Yeah, so it's basically this. It looks... Oh, that's an auth and then a double. Oop, there's another one. Wait, did Helix... Ah, okay. In Helix, it's required. We made that little change when we upgraded here. Probably because in Helix it actually is required. So from an outer perspective, sure. Make all our API calls consistent. Just that one of these becomes inconvenient. And if we're missing anything, we don't do it. Alright, so we still got a model.auth somewhere. So it compiles. It compiling is not the same as it working. Yep, okay, so yep, different body. But now... we can see what it does look like. Alright, so this is... we're basically going back to a Kraken decoder. Source, Twitch... we need a folder... Nope. Not a very pretty sample. Huh. It's really close from the looks of things. So maybe I actually want to go to TMI. Let's see, a hosting target. It exposes it. This is the test. That gave you log on and display name. So this might cause us some extra work here. Host without target name. Wait, record. Wait. Okay. So it's all the same except we don't have the display names. Hosts with a target name. Oh, okay. So there was the version that had the target name. And then for this, it looks like, I guess I'm going to have to go make a bunch of calls to get the name of the person hosting. So hosting target. Wait, type alias. Hosting target host. This depends on which way you called it. For target equals ID with target login display name. So hosts, which we don't have any documentation, there's a way to request their stuff. So probably we just have to go fetch the names ourselves. So all we get is ID pairs. So I guess that would become our host. And a sample host. Let's see. So we said we're going to drop the just the short name. So that's all you get. Decoder host. Map 2. That's all we get. I can really probably move this down. These kind of evolved from putting sample data as a comment header. It's like, oh yeah, I could use that for testing too. And this Kraken. Actually, did my notes still have the... Yeah, that version of it. Oh, right. These aren't multiple tabs in one thing. Which probably means, yep, I need to go back here. Okay, we lost last selection. I do, yes. Just unofficial API. It doesn't require that, although, do I need a, No, I guess this is a line? Now these dot comments should include a... Oh, no, it's down here. This is an entire... This is a comment block where just the syntax highlighting was failing. Okay, yeah, I don't know if there's a subcategory here. All right, and we had a test for TMI. Which should almost just be a rename. Okay, and we exposed those, no, that's import. This is no module definition. Because I need to remember exactly how we were testing this. Was this? No, we were hosting clips, test. You've got an Elm dot, no, that's hosting clips. We are on just this. You have an Elm.json, so this was probably Elm Reactor? Oh, but it's probably gonna want the Elm JSON for here. Nope, this is in the other folder. Following directory. Oh, I was using a little library. Well, we may have had an Elm stuff directory in there. In the old version. Or maybe it was even a node project. No, that's 19. Or maybe I had to run it with eUnit. So I last ran this on 19.0. What the heck was eUnit? Need to install a Phantom-based test runner. Which test should be added? Import, import, import. Just start reactor in the root directory of the project and access test. So actually it shouldn't be there. And it shouldn't be on reactor. Or actually it shouldn't be in the test directory. Expectation module. Root directory of the project. Was I maybe doing a couple different things over time? Move the folder stuff. Of course, in which project? Maybe this is not well set up for a library. But we had a similar problem if we ran it in the test directory itself. Oh, okay. So this is just which version of Elm we're using right now, which we should probably upgrade that thing anyway. It might require a reinstall. And actually E-unit might have trouble. So usually when doing these kinds of things, you end up having to do a complete reinstall. Okay. Field hosts, expecting an int. Aha. So there's some little formatting differences here. So the old one, they were ints. Now they're strings. Has my other stuff been treating IDs as opaque? No, that's a different kind of client ID. I need Helix decode. Like a user. Yeah, we have been treating these as IDs, so there's probably even some code. No, like my host. No? Where are we getting host from? View, because it has to share it. Now you see your strings. Oh, there were two APIs here, and I kind of arbitrarily chose one, not realizing there was a type difference between them. Wait. Oh, but then the decoder we took. Oh no, map string.fromInt. Oh, but it's not. It's just a string now. So we don't have to do that conversion. And in fact, well, no, we were getting host display name. So this might be a pretty significant change to our entire structure here. Now, we don't necessarily have to get a display name until we display it. All right, so where was, okay, for the actual app itself. We can probably put something else in there for now. That's the view. That's that type. So it's going to be a pain in the butt. Hosting clips. TMI. So this can become Kraken decode as Kraken. And did I use the same name? Use that for now, just to try and get things compiling. Okay, you know what? I probably changed to hosts in here, or test, even though it was the wrong directory. Okay, this isn't thanking anybody. There was no error. But it always does mine first. Just so we can get something up right away. Okay, so, not very informative. All right, so this is enough to get sort of bridge versions of my local stuff out, I think. So, we had a typo correction there. Elm test JSON. We need to add that and that. And this is not even going to be versioned yet. The next version, though. Well, we're going to be removing. We're going to be removing TMI. And there might be other changes, but that's that. So we had no, we had you. Well, we had test. We had source Twitch. Let's see, there's no base level module here. So I guess as far as Git's concerned, only decode goes away. Oh, and it does clear out the empty directory. Okay. Did we have... No. Oh, and the Kraken module had an example that it no longer exists. I don't know if it doesn't exist or if if there was a Helix version of that now. It did have the auth nothing version, which is a little bit easier to handle. And the slightly more complicated HTTP response thing. We could actually do nothing here for the sake of that. Now, this was my particular way of handling that. We don't have a Twitch ID. We have a Twitch ID, which hopefully isn't too confusing. And have we done all of the doc updates here? Okay, yep, that is bootstrapping and testing with target name. No differentiation in those. Okay, so we've already added twitchkraken.ohm. The rest of those are changes, which we've modified. And test elm.json. That might be another thing to revisit. Okay, now, you need names. Now, we don't necessarily have to go blast all of the names right off the bat. I guess the one complication to trying to lazy load it is going to be we could have a moment where it displays the number. Although I could probably get away with displaying nothing up there. The other problem is that I have a host data structure that has the name in it. Where does that show up from the view perspective? Well, it's not direct. Oh. Why did I define this in view again? You know what? I should probably checkpoint this too. Okay, so that's the API. That... Yeah, API reactor. Compiler, reactor. So this is local testing. And what was local testing? Ah, yes. Replace TMI with Kraken hosts. Still need display names. Okay, however, why oh why is this in here? Now we still need that in our main. Type message, type model, type main. Okay, it doesn't seem to have been in there for any reason. All right, so hosts. So it is a list host, which could just be a string of IDs now. Kraken.host to host. Capital host, please. Display name 4. So we've already kind of got a function, although it doesn't, it takes a list of hosts, not a model. Could just easily take a list of name ID pairs, I guess. Yeah, and that's bit. Okay, so then there is hosts. which, okay, we got the list to put it in there. Next choice. Import clips. Okay, so we do a check per host to build the pool. Now, does that perchance have an ID in it? Get clips. Array name. Broadcaster ID, game ID, ID. Required notes, query parameters. Response field. Broadcaster ID. Broadcaster name. So if we get 0 clips, we're going to have to go make a user request. Was that something that got added later, or is that something we're currently decoding? Oh. No, it was broadcaster ID. Broadcaster name. So this is something that got added later. I guess we should review the entire thing to see if there's anything else. Now I've got a sample data in here. It doesn't necessarily have anything. Okay, that's got to be the ID of the clip. Broadcaster ID, broadcaster name. Created at, creator ID, creator name. Now this actually comes back a little bit to some of the library changes I wanted to make. But doing that is not a quick fix here. Where is my clip, actually? We do need a couple of fields. I wonder if it'd be worth starting the conversion on clips. Oh, another thing would be interesting. They ever put duration in here? View count, video ID, URL, title, thumbnail URL, pagination. No. So I'm actually gonna need to get a new sample for this too. Well, yeah. New sample. Well, the nice thing about the tests for a decoder of everything is that it is a fairly complete test, which makes me wonder if I should maintain a decode everything. Hmm. The problem is I've been thinking about kind of rewriting the entire Twitch library. So any changes I make here would be a little bit temporary. And let's see. So this is possibly manually updated. Well, I guess we're still going to want to update our sample. We're still going to, at some point, have a complete version of this. Okay, so there's our sample. Did I even keep the window for... No, I didn't. I thought we were done. Yeah, nope. Not what we wanted. Oh. I don't even know what you think you're doing. Maybe it shows a different port and still printed 8,000? Is this going to be Twitch? Oh, I don't even have a test for clip. So this is going to just kind of just casually break everything. One of the reasons I kind of want to change the style of this. Actually, how big a deal is this? This is not a very big deal. These are already not alpha. I do seem to have manually done all this stuff, though. Cannot find the end of this list. But it'd be true instead false. But then an object with a field named offline image URL. But we've had no errors on here. Oh, maybe I didn't update my sample. They were never testing that. No, I never updated like stream or user or something. No, that was clip, right? No, because I copied something and used an old decoder. Nope, nope, wrong thing. Parallel developer sites. Well, I love development anyway. All right, my clip. That was part of our persist data. Which we used to avoid making re-requests. Well, that's going to get real ugly then. Of course, one of the problems with this is that broadcasters can change names on occasion. So you kind of don't want to use that. And we're not actually going to be making those requests in most cases. Once we got them cached. So really, we do just want to do a separate request for the current username. We don't have any expiration on this. But username changes I've seen a couple of times. So I might be able to say that if we get a name from fetching a clip, we could go ahead and put it into our local name cache. Or our runtime name cache. Which we have to make. Oh, there's going to be a whole bunch of requests in the credits app too. We don't necessarily need to fetch everybody. We just have to fetch ones we actually show. We can remember it if we do. So hosts. So that information is already... Our whole host structure is already kind of useless here. Map my host and the Twitch hosts. Which my host is just going to be an ID, I think. And we hold the host ID out and did stuff. Just the number. It's got the name built in. Well, if we're fetching name, it should usually be the name for the current thing we're hosting. And we've got the clip in there. The clip has the broadcaster ID, so we can always check what we've got to see if it needs updating. But the name might have to be like a... maybe. All right, so our current host. Now, this is a thing we might have to share a little bit, because there are probably places where we refer to a user as just a string. Now, finding... well, it's not like choice. User ID, channel ID. They called it broadcaster ID. What do they call it in a straight up like user reference? Broadcaster type, just ID. Not at the end of sentences. This is Elm, and which sentences did you see not at the end of? I'm not seeing any offhand. Of course, I've probably moved since you said that. Oh, that not. That is an editor tweak I've done to show non-printing characters. I'm not familiar with the use of that particular character as not, but that is what the example I found for that used for end of line. It also, maybe I've only got it set up for, no, I guess I don't have anything set up for spaces. Nor, I have to remember how to type tabs. But there's something for that. I think there's something, I thought I did something for certain kinds of spaces. Maybe I'm thinking of the other editor I use sometimes. On Boolean algebra. Okay. And thank you for the follow. Now we want to make this. No, you actually are a name. You're a name. Oh, do you even have... Do you reference user IDs anywhere? That's displaying a name. So the host is probably it. Yeah, that's a user ID. No, we switched modes. We're no longer doing searching for string. Display name from float, from float, from float. The redirect URL. It's an icon name. Okay, so there's actually, we only needed it once in here, which might make that a little eh. Probably gonna need it more here. HTTP error clips. This is probably ID, yes. Login. Okay, so that is definitely a user ID. That is something else. What is login? User.login. Okay, so that's probably the name. That's probably like a clip ID of some sort. The clip cache here actually does have a POSIX on it. It's not a user ID. That's going to be a clip ID of some sort. It should maybe use its own name for clarity. Okay, so that's for the interactive management interface. Now you see, it would be this. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're trying to get rid of that. String dot to string. Import clips. Okay, so this is indeed a user ID. It's a clip ID. Okay, so that's a string comment. That is a login name. That is a user ID. That's an auth. That's an auth. I'll probably use a few more types. Clips URL, broadcaster ID. Auth count, user ID. Channel ID. String dot. Update clip duration. That's going to be some sort of clip ID. Display name. Well, this is going to be, although this is going to end up changing how it works. That's going to be kind of generic. Okay, still compiles. All right, so what we want to do is we want to say model is going to become a list of user ID, and then the app's going to become very, very unhappy about that. If we save. Well, let's get our. So what we've got right now, and this I'm changing this as part of my rework, is a structure of two things. We're just going to take the host ID. Okay, so so that will be a list of you. Cached new. So we're doing some kind of partition on this. Host limit. Model.hosts. List.all. Not equal to host. So we've got two lists of hosts. That should be fine. Partition, we were pulling out a thing, but now that is it. Requests, model.auth, list.map. The new ones, which are now just host IDs. Was just host IDs. Host equals hosts. Host equals hosts. Display name for host is going to be a problem. You're going to be a list of user IDs, which actually we don't even really need this. This code will be useful once we start getting a username map. Okay, so it compiles. It's going to do that one first. Why is that cycling so fast? Or is it kind of streaming out the data fetches? Nope, they are different IDs. Now, I thought I had a cache in here. Okay, so that's just, all of these things that built up as it was getting the clip backlog. So did we get a bunch of new people, or? Well, I guess we were sitting there for a while. Yeah, it seems like it's fetching a lot more than it needs to be. Where is... Explosions, durations, clip cache. Or actually even just state. Okay. It's not compiled yet. So we do have a bunch of stuff. So why does it think it needs to load it? Okay, we got our hosts. These are supposed to be... Every time we load its new hosts. Oh, are you coming in? Are you coming in before we've loaded from our state? This would also probably be a good spot for the debugger. Update current URL, next request, loaded. There's that. Okay, so that's that load, that load, there was a next request. We haven't processed it yet. Where do we say... No, we would have to get a host's response to have it say new. So when we get hosts, okay, so we're only concerned with that. Update. Hosts. Okay, so map it to the new list, which I guess debug.log new hosts. Well, new received hosts, which is going to be a pretty long list. And at some point, which I don't have an easy way to get this, debug.log model hosts. And out of that, it's saying cached and new. Okay, so received hosts. Okay, so these have no order dependence and have... Okay, so we have model hosts here. Okay, so this is new current hosts. Why do we even have a clip cache if we do this every time? I mean, I guess it makes sure we've got an updated thing, but like, why even have the cache? So this, I think, may actually be a mistake, because I was considering that, like, cache... Yeah, because this is supposed to be cached. This is just model.hosts, not... Oh, no, you're doing a clip cache check. Oh, no. Host ID, model.clip cache. Oh, and actually there is a time check here. This is going to be a messy one. And actually, you know what I should probably do is I probably put my limit on. Where do we do location, URL, stuff, host limit. Nope. What the heck? Okay, so that gets us down to 2. Oh, no. Was it cached was the... Okay, so both of them had cached items. It said just. Oh, is this the last time that we fetched that broadcaster? Okay. Now clip cycle time. That's not very long. Did I use the wrong value here? That seems like maybe I was doing this for testing and forgot about it. Okay, so we do have a refresh mechanism built in here. It's still counting those as new, though. So what the heck is going on here? Did I get my comparison backwards? Oh, this is model time. Oh, do we not have a model time yet? Yep. How is it happening that we can get a network request before Elm can tell us what time it is? So we have next request. We have... Maybe I don't request it on startup. And we haven't really started doing anything yet. Yeah, time.now. Next choice updates it. Next request updates it. We probably just don't kick those off soon enough, or at least not until after doing that. We are only going to model time equals time. And then on startup, command.batch. What's initial command? Oh, because we did this update process. Okay, I did not like that. Current to time. No, that's right. That is, the message is not, though. No, that's not good. We just had too many of them. Oh, that's right. You're a task. I also don't entirely get tasks. No, you're a core thing. Task. Can handle failures. Well, time shouldn't fail. So time.now is just a task. A task.perform is what takes the message. Okay. We're still partitioning into new. Or was that the second run? Okay, so this is a while ago, and we're saying, is this less than that? Is that? Well, that's a 165, that's a 1614. But we're somehow partitioning that into new. Do I have partition backwards, maybe? The first list that satisfy the test. If we don't have anything, it's false. So that would not satisfy the test. Maybe I do have it backwards. Because that sounds to me like there's no cached value, we should fetch it. I'm not sure that explains why it was always coming out that way before. I basically need to switch it back to that short time and see what it does. No, that didn't even make a difference. How did that not make a difference? Oh, maybe I didn't compile yet. I guess there was a link in there. What the heck? I flipped the lists! It's not this case because we're doing this and this, which only happens in the we found something case. The test is a number. That's probably just kind of a fault of you. It shouldn't be the same priority in that thing. So it's saying false and false, which, okay, I get that. Now, well, and I should check if that makes sense, but no, not new true. If I flip the lists, well, no, oh no, if I flip the lists, yes, it's still the second list, but it's going to be interpreted differently. Ugh. That is saying test is false. This is not less than that time. And the time here is the time that was fetched. So what we were seeing was it, okay, was it fetching those? Okay, did I use partition anywhere else? No. And cache time, not used anywhere else. Yeah, that was, must have put that over for debugging of that process. Is that supposed to be 48 hours? It actually seemed like a pretty significantly different time. I think it's one too many 60 in that case. I'm not sure, because the numbers don't make sense any otherwise. Although it also seems like a not very long cache. Milliseconds per second. No, 60 seconds per minute, 60 minutes per hour, 48. Yeah, 48 hours. It's still something. And actually, that won't get very out of date then. Now we still have to have some place to keep names if they didn't have any clips. Oh, my request rate's probably different. Well, no, I'm not sure what the rate for Kraken is. I suppose you're in an unofficial API. So if it's only 48 hours, then, well, if we changed the format and allowed the name to be blank, it would take care of itself over time. Well, that's almost more of an optimization since we have to have some way to get it anyway. No, 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 no. We'll eventually have to think about order of operations. But a thing that we can always use is the ability to fetch unknown usernames. So we've got hosts. We've got our array of choices. We've got our cache indexed by user ID. Oh, clip cache? Yes, actually, you are user ID. Doesn't really change anything. I mean, I could almost kind of have a clip ID too. Would help make some things clearer. That's a clip ID. That's just a string. Clip duration. Oh, we actually do have to get that from the view. Actually, this might not be the proper name for it. Yeah, we went back to user. Broadcaster ID, broadcaster name, creator ID, creator name, embed URL, game ID. ID of the clip. Okay, yes, that is that string. Clip filter could be a partial. I think that's a clip ID. That's a username, that's a username. String.contains, display name, from float, from float, from float, from float. Authorize URL, URL for redirect, icon. So you only use it in messages. HTTP error, login, auth. It's got to be that. Clip filter is the work in progress. That's actually a string. We're working getting rid of you. String 2, string 2, string 2. Exclusions. HTTP response source. User by name. User by name. Returning a string. That's the auth. That's the auth. It's returning the URL. Auth count. Fetch clips for user. Hosts for ID. String.replace. Update clip duration. That's a clip.id. This is a dict of string duration. So yes, that would be that. Display name for host. That's all generic string stuff. Oh, we have to import you. Okay. I need an additional. I don't really have a name for this anywhere. What was it in host display names? User display names? Use a dict of a user ID to a string. Wait, hosts was a list. This is a dict. Okay, we have another init somewhere. Logout. Goes and just resets everything. All right, so the display name for host is actually going to have to get either that dict directly, or the model. So that's not a filter, this is just the fetch, which is indeed a maybe. Oh yeah, host display name doesn't exist anymore. Dict.get ID in names. Doesn't need to map anything. But your default is going to be the ID for now. And you have to receive a different argument. This won't do anything yet. Well, doubly so. Okay, we changed the wrong thing. Oh, I've still got some stuff in here. And then loaded. Oop. Oh, what did you do? Okay, undo that. There's another case. Okay, let's get rid of the spam. This is a separate thing. So see, I don't need to put my name in there. So if we actually fetch clips, which we're not right now because we've got the cache running. Yeah, so there's actually no point putting that in there. So we'd really rather wait until we decide to display something to do this. Import clips. Oh, we go ahead and turn each of these into an entry with the username. Oh, model. Just model clips? Clip cache. So maybe we just re-import at times. And maybe I just re-imported everything. Yeah, and that's the list of choices. So the choices have the names pre-built into them. Which ends up being kind of unfortunate because it means every time we update a name, we're going to have to go through and update everything in the choices as well. And this, as we're going through here, does not say, oh, we might need that. We need to find places where we make a choice. Okay, so we're already doing some on-demand loading here. Clip.duration, clip.video URL. Was this a update in the clip format? Really? This almost feels like more like its duration. Well, maybe I get the video URL from that too. So self clips, other clips. Self selector. So we picked two things. Array.length, array.length. Ah. So what are our available options? And so we've got a chance to do self with both. If there's 0, 0, then it's always going to be that regardless of what that said. This is the list. The index is the selector array.getIndex. So this is the one we picked. And we have to go back and update recent too. And if we have auth, we are doing, okay, so this is based on things. Well, self-clip doesn't have names. This is based on the thing we picked, so it is going to be kind of the right place. This is, we don't care about name. So really we're going to have to say, did we know the name before? And we're going to assume that means it was in this array. And there is also, is it just thanks? Yes. Well, really we're going to say, I guess the clip has the broadcaster ID. If we have a means to make API requests and we have a clip, now you see this is switching off one set of attributes. I need to do a whole second process here. Very much like this. At which point, maybe you want to do a separate pass for auth. This is getting big enough that I kind of want to pull it out. It's not really like the main thing here. So I think you only need thanks and let's see. This is that part needs auth. We're going to need the model for the name list to check if it's there. Do we have any kind of helper function set up here? We have import clips. And then we're getting into persist stuff. Resolve loaded. Oh. Request data for clip. For thanks. No. See, we are... This is going to be in an append block right now. Although I could just do pass the model through. See, and this was a choice. How are we using this? Yeah, and we're updating our pending requests. Which we could probably strip stream that. Although all of that framework, it's like I could make this the function and then have that just be framework. That would make you have to pass in the model, and what we would return would be a list of commands. Now this thing is only going to be one command. Actually, it's going to be command message. It's just we have a way to make it a no-op. All right, does that in and of itself, and I guess we're kind of done with you. In and of itself compiles. Now I need to go back there and edit the framing code. Oh, no, you see, I called this request data, and then I tried to pull it out to a singular thing. So really, this should be like... Which down isn't. Request data. Request video data. Okay, no, it's still saying that's an issue. Oh no, compiled one module. Okay. And then we want something very similar to this. I could have set up to pass the auth in here. With a different set of... is this even caring about the clip? We have to pull the clip out to get the broadcaster ID. Oh. If it's a thanks without a clip, we've thrown out the ID. Well, most of these are videos, so we can return to that. It's probably somewhat similar too. So we do have to inspect this to see if it's there. We also have to look at, well, we have to search the list. And if it's present, now we should only have to update the list when we have actual data. Then we go like rerun import clips or whatever. See, we did do that as a dict, so we could just do a dict. Oh, but we have to get the user ID, which we can only do from things with clips right now. We're going to dict.get clip.broadcaster ID from model.user display names. I guess we actually do something in the nothing case here. And this is where we might have to do some code. Now that was say so. This is actually a singular case. Yep. This is almost a case where we could do some sort of like get case with clip, but then we're gonna have to do something with the other one. Wait, you don't have a pair, I think. Now, actually, since there's a case in a case, I think I do need that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to tell where one started and one end. All right. Of course, I need actual code here. How about that? Oh, and actually self-clip. We don't have to fetch the name. Do we have a fetch user? We have a fetch user by ID, but that's going to presume it's our user. And do a bunch of triggers based on the response. Broadcaster by ID, fetch user by ID, URL is fine. All right, compile check. Compile check is fine. It is technically going to be a list, because those responses are just always lists. Okay, this triggers off all kinds of stuff. I guess maybe the error handling we could use a little bit of. What do we have to do with you? Well, we want to add you to our list of names. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to include the ID. Well, no, the user has an ID in it. Model where? Probably have a command. User display names is a dict.insert of, oh, this is going to be a Twitch user, that'll be fine for now. We'll eventually have to have my own type for that. Is it .id and display name? ID and display name. That didn't necessarily need multiple lines. So this is only the beginning of the mess here. Dict string, user ID string. Oh, you need a value. User.display name and model.user. You need the actual dictionary. Now we don't have a call for you yet, or to call the other function. Request. And update this. That's broadcaster by ID auth. Clip that broadcaster ID. And then this thing we are not calling at all. Okay, it's only going to do that when it picks a different one. Do I have... I don't have a self-clip. Okay, backfill. That would be a clip ID. Clip that ID, okay. That's just the message. I mean, it's for that clip, sure. Broadcaster type, description, display name. Hey, there we go. That's Rat Gaming. So I think we put that into our local... I think we did the thing to put that into our local cache. But now we have to track down all all of the places that can be and update them. Now, import clips is one thing that can do something with that. What's the ID? Model.use. Okay, so that's a user ID. We've got our model. We've got the clips. This is resolve loaded. Model.user ID. What's clips? Get our user from the clip cache. Oh, maybe because this is from our username. But it's going to be similar to this. This is a list. What were we doing with you? That is choices. Array.append, array.fromList. So we waited to even insert those. If dict.member, do nothing. If not, fetch. Or re-import them from the clip cache. But we unconditionally add them to the list. So maybe I can't get away with this import clips rehash. That does it, but that's when we get hosts. Okay, so we're waiting until we get the host, where we used to have the display name. And then that's when we get a batch of clips. Okay, so I can't necessarily use this. Now, one path here is we put the name in the choice, or the ID in the choice. And then when we fill in the map, the view updates, and that's that. Which is probably the way to go. Now this is set up to use display names if we've got them. We just have to make sure when we get back a name, we update every single place that one of these things might be. Oh, and right. We have to store the ID in it anyway. Although we can get away with storing it in the clip when there's a clip. And in the future, we will be able to get display names from the clips. Yeah, in fact, I'm setting this up to do it for clips, but we should be able to, or should we? Right, I was doing this first because you need this as a backstop. If there's a clip, we can display the name directly from the clip. If there is no clip, then that item has to have an ID. Oh, unless the clip data we have doesn't include the name, which it won't at first. Well, if we're getting the name from the clip itself, then we don't need it in the thanks. If we do need it, we're just kind of, well, we're already kind of duplicating it around. It was just really convenient to have everything right there. That's only going to show up in the view. How? Display recent clip. Yeah, and you see this is able to operate completely independently. No model, no extra stuff. Well, actually, this is technically recent. Yeah, that would be nice, but... User ID. You see that's already broken out. So a thanks clip. So that's the clip window. Yeah, display name name. Display name name. That has the model. We might have to make some arrangements for various ways we could get that. So if there's a clip, we'll definitely have an ID. We could go through all of those. This is going to need updating to have an ID. So we update the display names. We need something that, yes, this isn't really going to, I mean, it is true that those are exactly the things we need to update, but they're just in a list. So we can't just append them. So I need a sub function that will update one entry. Then we can list map and update any other references. This will be update name. In a single choice with a, I guess normally you would do the second thing. We do the thing to thing to thing to thing. Oh, you need an ID too. Do I have the full list anywhere? Because it is, well, right now all I can do is clips. And only clips of others. Because it doesn't have a name in itself. So it is name, which we're replacing it so we don't care. And clip. I clip that ID. Dot broadcaster ID. Else we return it as is. And right now, in all other cases, we return as is. Ah, this is just a name. Okay. Probably need the capital on that. All right, so this is our choices. Oh, yes, there's a user.id. No, choice is equal. This is, yes, carried over all of these things. Is it not choices? Also, I should remember to put a markdown first. Oh no, clips is an array of choice. We have a clip cast. It's an array of clips. Oh, you're an array. Because we have to pick out indexes. Okay, that's that. We should also have thanks and maybe recent clips. Is a list.map. And thanks is just a function call. Oh, we put clips in here. Actually, I think one of the reasons I put self-chance in here, maybe for testing, is it self-rate. No, actually, no, because we do it. Okay. Oh, okay. It fixed it, but there's definitely a lag there. And the way we have it now, it's not aware of whether or not it actually knows the name. This will be partially resolved by being able to pull out a collapse. Does not knowing the name actually turn it into a different type of thing? There's a bit of stuff there. If we are aware whether we know it, we can just not display the name text. That turns that all into maybe stuff. Well, that would be a different display mode if it was like thanks anonymous. If we had a type for name not known, we could even just let those age out of the cache and not display a name for now. Of course, when there's a clip, it's not actually an issue. No host is a little bit of a thing. Actually, how many people? Well, they don't come up now in part because I'm picking by number of clips. So there could be a bit more people out there that are no clip, and then we'd be fetching their names all the time. Wait a minute. Isn't there a batch mode on users that I use for other things? Or am I thinking of like streams or something? It's channel information. Which, I mean, kinda. $100 IDs is the total limit. We could do it in one request. And since we do ourselves first, that would kind of take care of everything. That would come back as multiple users we'd have to iterate over. But that's something that we do in other apps. Now, probably not going to have 100 people. You might have to deal with that. Fetch users by ID. Yeah. We've got like user update was the... That actually did save some information. And does that do... Where do we do the batching? Well, you're only getting a single. So that's not what we use for bulk loading. Fetch unknown users. Required missing. No. Oh, we probably did this recursive. Maybe it's request limit. Affects next user batch. Yeah, this had that does get hairy because you kind of have to keep the list of unknowns. Pending users, append unauthenticated requests, and then we have to update that. Actually, when do we reset that? Oh no, list.drop. Yeah, list.drop, list.take. Yeah, it's a roguelite. You expect to die pretty much every run. Uh, you, as you're learning things, you kind of expect to die before reaching the first boss or at the first boss. A lot early on. Both because of experience and because you keep getting upgrades as you play that make you stronger. Yep. They're a mini boss. They're one of the checkpoints. Actually, now I'm wondering. It seems like hosts at some point didn't ever have this feature. I made it. It doesn't look like. This is my BRB clip roll. Twitch removed the API I was using. And now the big issue is that the new one doesn't have the usernames coming back with the response, so I have to do a whole lot of stuff to get them. So that was clip caching, which I don't know why. I guess I rebased that or something. For users clips, host list. Did this have this built in this version? Yes. What was a host at this time? Nope. The hosts I was using early on did indeed have the names. Let's see. Was that indeed still TMI? Fetch clips. Where's my hosts? Did I have that built into something else? Because you have the meta progression. You get the gems, you get the darkness, you unlock more weapons over time. So you get stronger and stronger. Of course, that also like adds new enemies and things as you make progression. But where the heck is hosts coming back from? How do I go to next entry? Update hosts. Oh, would you look at that? Fetch users by ID. Okay, I'm confused. Right, if that's hosts. Oh, I was only using a sample here. But it looks like we did in fact have some kind of, yeah, fetch users by ID? Was I no, that's fetch user. Was I mapping that onto individual requests? I didn't understand batching yet. Fetch clips. Oh no, this is an initial model. Oh no, this is for our user. Which status here is that sample host? So we were just... So we not actually implemented the hosts check yet? But the stuff we were working with at the time had the username, so I didn't have it in this program. Yeah, TMI decoder to own module. Remove unnecessary user lookup. Request, model and host limit, fetch clips. Oh, this must be the after. You need to be in there. Pending requests. Oh, if you've already got the login. So that's for me. Yeah. Oh yeah, when you can get that on something with that gets a lot of spread. You can do lots of things. Yeah, Doom's been pretty nice. I guess the only thing is that it doesn't. I'm assuming it doesn't scale with your other. Like if you get a damage bonus to your special, it doesn't affect the Doom damage. For instance. Oh, level 2 of the Doom buff. Yeah, so that scales on its own track. So going forward, we should actually have the name for any clips. I would only have to be watching out for where we didn't have the name. So there's that. I think we need to, I need to build for that, but I have to allow for what do we do if that name isn't available, because we have to allow for loading these things from a cache. I might have to go through a transitional version where we allow for loading old things from our cache. So we have the ability to eventually display the name. It's just going to be really ugly right now because we're not cognizant of the fact that we don't have an actual name there. Let's see, how many places would I have to touch if I did turn that into a maybe? And this would technically be a maybe, but I'd have to do something to that anyway. So this is a maybe name. No, if this is, I want to say we want to map it to that, but there's a default of, you're probably doing the entire header, so we have to do something there. You're like text. We have to look for any other cases of this. Do we use the name? Yeah. Maybe dot with default. I guess that would be nothing. All right, I think I forgot to change some of these to maybe name. Oop. And then there's all of the code in the main file. Okay, you're not using it. You're a maybe. You're just putting it back where it was. That is a display name. Now, display name for hosts will now be able to do a maybe, as you're doing it with default ID. We also used it for here, though. All right, thanks. Clip. Maybe name. Not using it. This is updating the name, but this has to be a just because we're putting a name in there. That is not using it. That is not using it. Not using it. And we compiled. I probably need some sort of dev way to skip these. I guess I could change the... force the clip time to be smaller. Okay, that was text, but that wasn't header text. So I guess it was just that we put it in an H1. I mean, this would actually... Well, there would be a visible space there. Balanced? Or you just have? Well, I don't think the mini bosses show up on every run. Let's see. How do I force faster cycles here? Or I guess I could take the self count down. Okay, no, that's still totally busted. Oh, no, we didn't compile. This would be our subscriptions. I guess these are really the things that are in the way right now. Maybe with default to float. And what's messed up in our view? You are looking for a list. Yeah, that took its sweet time. We probably had a queue of requests going on. Request names. Yep. And the video data is nice too. Nope, that's actually no better. Well, we really should have a better way around this. Okay, so that's Twitch API. We've got hacked times right now. Oh, yeah. I maybe should have done the aliasing as a separate commit. Yep. What TMI are sisters? Do I still have my host? Yeah, it's trivial, but I do. All right, so that's for clips. That does have a better way. We've not done anything with the plain old thanks, though. So for fetching that, we had a way when we were looking at this. It's clip duration. Update name. Yeah, we're gonna have to include an ID in use somewhere. Is this what do we just include the ID and have all of this go back? It shouldn't take any different time to update. It'll just be a model update. I keep wondering if I should just put the ID in here, and then we'll have the ID from the clip, and we'll have... So you would be a user ID. That seems a little bit better than going back and updating everything. Now it's a rework. All right. And we have to have that function, or a version of that function, in both places. Including the fact that it's going to still be a maybe that we actually get the name. Yep. So we still have to deal with that part. Oh, it's just a dict get. That kind of got reduced down to nothing. Which does mean I have to deal with this whole maybe. So maybe display name does have to take a maybe. Or we do have this be like display name for ID. That means you need a whole lot of extra stuff. You're an ID. Okay, so there's display name. Then we had, well, this very easily translates into our other version. All right, dict dot Unless you have to case our maybe here. Dict.get ID out of model.user display names of just name nothing now, and you see, you're technically a maybe name, not. Did I make you? Yeah, you were a map. So I can't actually use that there yet. And oh, you're not just necessarily a plain H1. Maybe that's what I was missing. Oh, but I copied it down there, so that's fine. Maybe with the default. All right, so what was off here? Oh, right. This needs a model to look up the name. Oh, right. We were just not doing types for those. So we don't have to talk about that. Display nameless. Oh, we never fixed this. So where? Why didn't you have the class? Previous branches. Oh, you have to be name. $68 go. We did in fact made this user ID. Now we're not actually getting one of these right now. All right, so that breaks that run on user ID, which it was string compatible, so it wouldn't have actually broken anything. So you're just going to be user ID. Okay, and that's all you did with that. Now, what we want to do... Oh, no, we still want to trigger a search. Request name. This is going to be an ID now. Clip.broadcaster ID. Backflow username. User ID. Fetch broadcaster by ID. User ID. All right. Does that compile? It compiles. That comes back on Capital Broadcaster. Broadcaster. Which I guess I've still been, I don't need to be debugging this all the time. Clips, recent clips, thanks. This is the update name function, which we don't have a case for this. Thanks. User ID. If user ID equals ID, then actually, no. We've removed this problem by translating it to ID. Can I override my model here? Well, the trick is where do we update this? Pick. Now you see, I have to put a user ID in here, so this is a lot harder to fake out. Let's see, do I have my user ID in here? Or is it all just the token? Yeah. That's a number. And actually, this is not... No, I think I just force a pick when I only have mine. Is that right? No, that's thanks nobody. Oh, okay. Thanks wonderful the host. There we go. Okay. It's a little slower than I want. And let's see. So having done that, then I think we just drop this out of here and use a similar method. Well, I guess first we look up the name that way. Mname clip. So if we do this, we have a clip, and we want to say display name for ID model clip dot broadcaster. Now we actually want to do something extra here, where we eventually look it up in the clip itself. Okay, now you don't need this. Bye-bye. So we can just stop messing with this. Oh, is that the only place we use it? Okay, see you later. So maybe with default of that, this thing is not... Yeah, this is not the same process here, so this is a little bit awkward. This is maybe kind of why I kind of cast it in. dict.get clip.broadcaster ID. Out of. Model. You don't have model. You do have model. You have no reference to model. Display name. No, that's a function. User display names. Okay, that's not quite it. We need to put model in here. Okay, that's your only reference to it. Okay, don't care. Maintaining the value. That's going through all the trouble to fill it in. That's the whole update process we're trying to get rid of. Doesn't care. Doesn't care. Doesn't care. Doesn't care. Maintaining value. I think that's it. Well, we have to leave this here for now. I need to go back and get rid of that function, now that it shouldn't matter. And then all of this stuff goes away. Okay, we have the slowness problem, but that can maybe eventually get fixed by getting stuff out of the clip itself, for most cases. The only place we need that name is when displaying it now. I think I added that. This isn't a Helix thing, or the Kraken thing. Yeah, we did add broadcaster name in here. We just have to map it through to here. And the problem here is that this clip is... So it's easy, except that we're persisting these, and then they won't be here. And then we have to care about whether it's there or not. And then I need persistence clip encoders and decoders. Ugh. Getting to be too much to push through. And the CORS proxy actually goes away as part of all this. And then, let's see. Yeah, and this turns into a little bit of a problem for stream credits too, because that wants to display names. Although in that case, we're going to display all the names, so there's not any. Well, we have to deal with possibly breaking it by 100. I don't know if that application already has bulk user ID fetching or not. But I need to get lunch. So thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting my subscribers. Yep. And for the follow, and then all of the invisible hosts. Let's see what's going on. I know for One Life, Franny's on. Oh, and there we go again. That's what I'm usually on. We have another code. Actually, wait a minute. Doesn't matter. Bye-bye.